Hey, Tom Hegna here with my 2020 economic commentary. If you've been following me for the last few years, I am probably one of the only economists in the world who has been consistent since 2011 that interest rates are not going up as far as I can see, okay? And that's going to continue. The thing that's different now is everybody knows that now. It took 7 or 8 years. People said, oh, interest rates are going up, interest rates are going up. I kept saying they're not going up, they're not going up, they're not going up, and they're still not going up for all the same reasons, the debt, deleveraging, demographics. I'm not going to get into that. If you want to review my last commentary, you just Google Tom Hegna economic commentary. You can watch every one of them. What I want to do this year is do something a little different. I want to talk about the economy. I want to talk about the election because that's been the number one request. When I sent out a request, what do you want me to talk about? Election, election, election. So I'll try to do that. It's dangerous because the politics are so nasty in America. So I'll try to play it down the middle on that one. I'm going to talk about my main message being protection. I'm going to share with you what I think in the short term and then what I see for the longer term. All right. So look. There are people who are concerned about the United States might go into a recession. We're not going to see a recession anytime soon. I mean, if you don't believe me, unemployment is the lowest that it's ever been in my lifetime. This is the best economy I've ever seen in my entire lifetime, okay? The markets, when I'm filming this, are at all-time record highs, and it seems like every day it goes up higher. Anybody who wants a job can have a job. Most people have 2 or 3 or 4 jobs. It used to be having a second or side hustle job was looked down upon. Now everybody has one. They can drive for Uber. They can drive for Lyft. They can deliver for Uber Eats, or they can install ceiling fans or do plumbing or electric, tackle or Angie's List. So this economy is the best I've ever seen. I think people are making more money than they've ever made in their entire lives, and those aren't the products of a recession, okay? So I don't see a recession in the near term. As far as the election, again, I got to be very careful because half the people watching this are Republicans and half the people watching this are Democrats, and people are so nasty now, and I think that is ridiculous. I think we can have differences of opinion without being nasty, but that's the way the world is. So let me just tell you, I'm not going to tell you what I think. I'm going to tell you what the market sees. Right now, the market sees Trump being reelected, and probably in a landslide the way that the market keeps going up. Now, having said that, November is a long time away, and there's a lot of things that can happen. And if a moderate Democrat got elected, a Joe Biden type Democrat, it wouldn't be disastrous by any means for the stock market. The stock market did well under Bill Clinton, and it did well under President Obama. So a moderate Democrat or Trump getting reelected would be okay with the stock market. But if a left-wing Democrat, if Elizabeth Warren or a Bernie Sanders, that would be looked on very unfavorably by the stock market. As much as the market's gone up under Trump, it would likely go down under them. I mean, they've already stated their positions being very anti-business, higher taxes, Medicare for all that would have to be paid for by somebody, and all that money would have to come from somewhere, and a lot of it would come out of the market and out of companies and out of people who have money in the market. So that would be very negative for the market. Again, there are people who say, well, that'd be better for the country. I'm not going to say I agree with that, but I'm saying there are people who say that, but I'm saying the market would react very unfavorably to a left-winger getting elected. My main message today is really about protection. Now, that may seem counterintuitive because the market's just going up, everything's great, and short term, I don't see that changing. I mean, everything looks really good. But that's right when you need to be a little careful, right? Warren Buffett says, be greedy when other people are fearful, and be fearful when other people are greedy. And right now the market keeps going up and up and up. You should start being a little cautious, okay? There's nothing wrong with taking some profits, locking in some gains, okay? Remember, you can still have upside of the market, but be guaranteed not to lose all your money. I mean, that's what annuities do. And, there's basically, a few different types of annuities. There's deferred income annuities and single premium immediate annuities. Those products don't have fees, okay? They just provide guaranteed paychecks for the rest of your life. I own quite a few deferred income annuities. Then there's fixed indexed annuities that give you an interest rate. It's a fixed annuity. It's not a market-based annuity. It's a fixed annuity, but the interest rate keys off of an index, normally the S&P 500 index, but there are many other indexes. Now, that's going to limit your upside because they have caps on them or spreads. Now, there are some products that have that don't have caps or spreads, but then they're in more of a diversified type index. But that'd be for somebody who maybe wants a little better rate of return than what a fixed product like a CD or a bond is going to do, but it's not going to ever go down. You're never going to see a minus sign in your statement. And a basic fixed indexed annuity doesn't have fees either. Now, they can have some income riders that may have a fee, but the one that really can give you the unlimited upside of the market with some guarantees would be that variable annuity. Now, the variable annuity gets beat up all the time. The fees are high, and the fees are high. But the reason the fees are high is because they've got guarantees that stocks and bonds and mutual funds and ETFs do not have. Now, I own 11 annuities, and I'll tell you, if they were bad products, I would own exactly 0 of them. I own deferred income annuities, I own some fixed index annuities, and I own some variable annuities. Now, let me tell you why I do. Many of you know this, some of you don't, but I announced last year that I was going into retirement, a semi-retirement for the summer. And I wanted to see, would I get bored? You know, would we drive each other crazy? Could I really retire? And you know what I found? I loved it, okay? But if I've got enough money to retire right now for the rest of my life, and I do, if I have enough money to retire right now, what is the stupidest thing I could do? Lose my money. That would be the stupidest thing I can do. Can you imagine? I worked 30 or 40 years. I build up my savings, my investments, and then a few months before or after I retire, the market crashes and stays down for 20 or 30 years. That would be the stupidest thing I can do. See, I want to make as much as I can make. If I can make 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%, I want to make as much as I can make. But just as important, I don't want to lose what I've already got. Well, guess what? Vanguard can't do that for me. Fidelity can't do that for me. E-Trade can't do that for me. Ken Fisher cannot do that for me. But that's what those variable annuities can do for me. So depending on the guarantee in the contract, some have guaranteed accumulation value, some have guaranteed income riders, some have guaranteed withdrawal benefit riders, most of them have a guaranteed death benefit. There are guarantees. The only reason there are fees in a variable annuity is because they've got guarantees that stocks and bonds and mutual funds and ETFs do not have. So what I would tell you is you want to put some guarantees into your portfolio. You do not want to have all your money naked in the stock market when we're at all-time record highs. If you look at the predictions of some of the smartest people out there, many people are predicting flat gains for the next 10 years or up 2% or down 2%. I know of nobody that's predicting that the market's going to go up 10% a year for the next 10 years. We've already had huge gains. And so you want to put some protection on your money, especially if you're close to retirement. If you're within 5 or 10 years of retirement, if you're in retirement, you better have some protection. Because look, short term is, again, I say everything looks fine, but long term, we got some major problems. We're over $23 trillion in debt. We have about $200 trillion of unfunded obligation for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, government pensions, military pensions. Then there's all going to be all these pension bailouts that the government's going to have to provide. Another real warning sign is this repo market. It's kind of complicated, but this is where institutions lend to institutions. That market kind of went crazy in September, and the Fed has had to inject hundreds of billions of dollars of liquidity, which is weird because there's massive liquidity in the market, but not in certain pockets of the market. And this Fed repo issue could turn out to be a very big deal. I don't know, maybe it's no big deal, but it could be a huge deal, all right? And I would also tell you that the biggest risk I see right now for most baby boomers is sequence of returns risk. I don't want to minimize market risk. I don't want to minimize longevity risk or long-term care or any of the other risks. But I think the biggest risk right now for baby boomers is sequence of returns risk. Now, sequence of returns risk is why you can average 10% a year for 20 years and only take out 5% a year and go dead broke. Many people don't understand why that happens. And I'm not going to get into sequence of returns risk. You can look it up. It's basically if you lose money early in retirement, it can devastate your whole retirement, okay? But let me tell you why people don't understand it or don't, even if they have learned about it, they still don't get it. Here's why. I think we've all been taught that markets go up and down, but over time they always go up. Well, guess what? That's great if you're in your 20s and 30s, you close your eyes, you dollar cost average in the market, you wake up on your 65th birthday, you're rich, it works. Guess what? It doesn't work when you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. Do you know why? Because it is no longer dollar cost averaging. It is now dollar cost ravaging. You see, let's say you don't believe me. I'm going to be I got a great broker. I'm going to have a diversified portfolio. I'm going to take money out of there. I'm in dividend paying stocks. I'm going to be fine. I'm here to tell you you're not going to be fine, but let me show you why. As long as the market's going up, That will work. But as soon as the market starts going down, guess what you have to do? You have to take out more and more and more. And when the market goes back up, none of that grows back because you just took it out and spent it. And then the market goes down and you got to take out more and more and more. And when the market goes back up, none of that grows back because you just took it out and spent it. And all it takes is a couple of those dips early in retirement where it can cause your portfolio to go into a death spiral that you'll never come out of. The other reason people don't understand sequence of returns is they say, I'm going to wait it out. I don't panic. It's always worked in the past. The market has always come back. I close my eyes. I ignore it. The market all comes back. Well, number one, that's pretty hard to do in retirement if you're supposed to be living off of these assets, okay? But number two, the reason is, here's the deal. Do you remember the 1980s? 1980s had Honda, Toyota, Japan. The Japanese stock market was hitting all-time record highs day after day after day. Japan bought Pebble Beach. They bought Rockefeller Center. Time magazine said Japan is taking over the world. Does anybody remember the 1980s? Well, think about that poor 65-year-old Japanese guy. He was taught the same thing we were taught. The markets go up and down, but over time they always go up. He had a diversified portfolio. He had a great broker. And guess what? He retired. The market crashed. Does anybody know how long the Japanese stock market has been down? Over 30 years. The guy's 95. The market never came back. Hey, let me ask you a question. How do you think his retirement went? I got news for you. He never made it to 95. He dropped dead by age 70 from the stress of losing his money. Does anybody know that the European stock market has been down for over 20 years? What about emerging markets? Oh, that's supposed to outperform everything. It's been down over 10 years. I am telling you, Americans have no idea how far this market can fall and how long it can stay down. Now, Jeffrey Gundlach was on CNBC just a week or so ago, all right? And he's one of the smartest bond guys in the entire world. You know what he said? The next time the market crashes in America, it will likely not return for the rest of his career, maybe for the rest of his life. Think about that. How would your retirement go if the market went down 40, 50, 60% and stayed down for 20 or 30 years? How good would your retirement be? And is that what you want your retirement to be? Look, I've written multiple books. My first book, Paychecks and Playchecks, kind of a classic. I want a guaranteed paycheck to at least cover my basic living expenses, but then I want some guaranteed playchecks too, because I don't want to be not being able to play golf or go on that trip if the market takes a crash. Look, I have some money in the stock market. I do, but not serious amounts of money in the stock market. My serious amounts of money are in annuities and life insurance. Why? Because I'm protected. I'm protected if the market falls. I'm protected if taxes go up because money in life insurance can come out income tax free. I'm protected from creditors in the state of Arizona. If somebody tried to sue me, look, I get in front of hundreds of thousands of people every year. There's wackos everywhere. Somebody tries to sue me, they're going to get nothing. Because my money is protected. So my message today is that, yes, short term, the economy looks great. The market looks great, but that's exactly the time when you need to start taking some profits, locking in some gains, or putting some guarantees into your portfolio. Look, I want to make as much as I can make, but just as important, I don't want to lose what I've already got. And I don't think that's much different than what many of you are thinking. And that is my economic commentary for 2020. Let's have a great year.